Welcome back to NPO Showcase. My guest on this second segment of NPO Showcase are a husband and wife team, Jeff and Sarah Tao. We'll be discussing their plans to swim across Lake Michigan to raise funds and awareness of postpartum depression and perinatal mood disorders. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, why don't you tell us your personal stories, which I will assume is going to tell us why you got interested in this and why you're doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it certainly stemmed from us having children. We had our first daughter, and when she was born, I suffered from postpartum depression, which went undiagnosed. We didn't know I was suffering from that. And I think you kind of normalize things. You think everything is fine.
You've never had a baby before, so how do you
Right,
know?
exactly. And I think that's something that you start to just say, okay, oh, this might be normal. But I knew it wasn't right. And I didn't seek out any help. And later, after our research and studying, we found out that Jeff also was suffering from it as well because some certain things that he was going through. So we were suffering in silence. We didn't reach out to each other. We didn't reach out to other people, to our doctors. So we suffered, and we knew that there were other families out there that must be suffering as well.
And yeah, and it was an interesting time for us because like Sarah was saying, we were both suffering, but we didn't really know why. Like I felt very distant. I slept a lot more. There were a lot of things that were just not. But again, I thought this was sort of what they call the new normal after having a baby.
Right.
And also on top of it, our personalities are very much where we just kind of doing our own thing. So we were each in our own little worlds. And looking back on it, it was really, really a rough time.
It really was.
But the good news is by doing what we're doing here, we're going to hopefully help some other people get through some of the tough stuff they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Did you experience the same with your second child?
Yeah, actually I did. It didn't start out...
But did you know more about it then?
You know, unfortunately, no. I really didn't. I actually never got better because I didn't seek help. And so I continued to suffer. And then I seemed to kind of come out of it a little bit. And then when I had my son, I was feeling not the same way. It was more euphoric in a way. And then he became very sick and ended up in the hospital. So I think it was more situational that caused me to kind of go back into the postpartum depression versus what I was suffering from with my first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why did you choose this, what sounds to me like a terrible feat of endurance of swimming across Lake Michigan?
Actually, that's a little bit of a funny story. One morning over last summer, we were talking about something, and Sarah said to me, she says, "How far is it across Lake Michigan?" Just out of the blue. And I said, "I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 miles." And she goes, "We should swim across that." And I looked at her, and I thought about it for a second. I said, "Okay, let's do it."
That's true.
Which is funny because it's a lot of how we operate with a lot of stuff. We have an idea, and then we're ready to do it. But then the more we talked about it, and we thought, there are some things in our life that we're really passionate about. And is there a way to tie this type of an event into stuff that we're passionate about and create this, really big event that could really reach out and help others in the community? And then from there, it just developed. And it's been a pretty neat process. It's been since, that was last August?
Yeah.
I think it was last August or so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, certainly you must have been swimmers. I mean, you wouldn't decide to swim Lake Michigan if you were in my shape.
Yeah, we actually met in college, and we were competitive swimmers. So we've really been swimming most of our lives, and we've taken a very long break after having children, but now we're back into it and going strong.
It's actually funny because I was a sprinter in college, so my longest events were maybe a minute and 45 seconds. A minute and 45 seconds now doesn't get me even past the first sandbar, maybe?
Yeah, that's right.
What have you found are the reasons why people, when they experience postpartum depression, don't get help? I mean, what are some of the stigmas? I personally experienced it in my family, so I know that there are stigmas attached.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think there's an expectation out there. Well, actually, we're putting greater expectation on families and on moms, and where we have this attitude that we can do it all and that we should be doing it all, and that if you reach out for help, it's a sign of weakness. And there's no greater time in your life when after having a baby that you need help. I mean, it's a hard transition. It's one of the hardest transitions that you'll ever experience in your entire life.
And you're away from your family connections.
Yeah.
I mean, distance is so much greater now than it was years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that, and plus I think there's a lack of education out there. People don't understand mental illness in general, and specifically perinatal mood disorders. I think there's a lot of unknowns of why it exists, and I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, buck up, you can do it. You know, it's normal. This is all fine. You know, you just need to get some rest, go out and exercise." And those are very important things and can help in the healing process. But I think it's just a combination of things, and I think just mental illness in general is hard for people to understand.
Jeff, I would think that as a male, it would even be worse, because probably most men would think that they weren't affected.
Yeah, it is. In fact, you know, men don't want to talk about their feelings. I mean, that's sort of historically, that's the male stereotype, and it still actually is like that pretty much to this day. So it's been interesting actually speaking out about it and talking with, in fact, talking with other men about it, and just, there are men that are suffering, because I'm part of I lead a support group that goes once a month, and the men separate from the women, and we go into a room and we talk about it, and it's, you know, not very many men show up, but there are a few, and we start talking about some of this stuff, and you see little bits of trouble, little things going on, and you know, there's definitely some progress being made, and men are speaking a little bit more, but it's still, yeah, the stigma for men to talk about how they're feeling, and you know, instead of just being, you know, I'm the strong man, I'm going to take care of everything, and you know, make it all happen. It's been interesting to see that process. But I feel like, you know what, if I can share my story, maybe someone else out there will feel okay to, you know, get the courage to come out and do it.
And it's not just postpartum depression. I mean, it's all forms of mental illness and trauma.
Absolutely.
That just, you know, men aren't supposed to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So I think with the war and all the trauma of our men coming back, maybe some of that will break down. At least you'd hope it would.
I would hope so.
I hope so.
So who's going to benefit from this swim?
Well, we're actually raising funds for 5 different organizations, and there's Postpartum Support International, and there's Postpartum Progress, there's Tree of Hope, which is out in Detroit, there's the Perinatal Mood Disorder Coalition, which is our local coalition here, and then Moms Bloom, the organization that I'm a part of.
And what does Moms Bloom do?
Well, Moms Bloom provides in-home support for families after they've had a newborn.
Oh, great.
And we also have a program called Cameron's Garden, which provides support to families after they've experienced a loss through miscarriage or stillbirth or prematurity. So we have 2 main programs.
So what is the greatest need that you have right now?
We have a lot of needs for actual items that we need to help, you know, sort of make this go through. But I think our biggest need that we find is just general support, just getting the word out, having people tell other people about it so that we can start spreading the word. I mean, like I said, there's definitely a list of things we actually need. We need, you know, a crew. We have, you know, various needs like that for types of equipment. But to me, I think that's minimal in comparison to spreading the word, as well as actually just sending back encouraging words to us. You know, the training that we're involved in is fairly intense. And we actually went through a lull for a couple of weeks. We were just really, really struggling. I mean, it's, you know, with our work life.
Why do I want to do this?
with our work life, home life, training, you know, all this stuff starts to build, and you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really overwhelmed. And we just were really having a hard time getting through our pooled training sessions. And, you know, but some of the kind words that we've gotten through Facebook or YouTube or some of the other, you know, just friends talking to us, that it helps. Like, you wouldn't even believe when someone just says.
Or even the families we've helped already, which is why we're doing this. So it just gives us such strength to know that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, there must be swim clubs and places like that you can get other swimmers interested. I mean, they must help also, or not?
Yeah, I think as we go along here, I think as more and more people find out about it, I think the web will reach others, and other groups will want to get involved. And we certainly are looking for anyone and anybody. I mean, if you don't think you could be a part of this, you're wrong. I think there's always a place and an opportunity to be involved in this. And we need all the help that we can get. And this is not just a feat for us, it's a feat for the community and the country to really come together and pay attention to this important issue.
Have you gotten any out-of-state attention?
You know, we have gotten a little bit, specifically, I mean, Wisconsin, which we'll be leaving from Wisconsin, has been really nice. And then, of course, the organizations that we're supporting, Postpartum Support International, Postpartum Progress, those are all national organizations. So they've really helped spread the word quite a bit, and will continue to do so as we go through the process.
Might be good to drop off some information at West Michigan Tourist Association.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a great idea.
Another group of people that might not have heard about it might be interested. Have a lot of people succeeded in this swim?
No. Actually, in the history of Lake Michigan crossings, there have only been, I want to say, 8 or 9 crossings at any point on the whole lake. Most of them have taken place on the southern end, where it's less of a distance. It's 40 or so miles, although there have been some crossings that go way back that were 50 or 60 miles on an angle down towards Chicago. But at this particular location, only one person has crossed. This is the midpoint of Lake Michigan. And Jim Dreyer crossed there in 1998.
Yeah,
and so we would be the second and third. And we'd actually be the first couple that we're aware of to swim a distance like this together anywhere in the world, as far as we can tell.
My goodness.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you train for this.
Well,
Swim a lot.
I think right now we're just building up our strength and our endurance, and what we're preparing for is, well, what Jeff likes to say is our second phase of training, which is actually getting outside and into open water. So as soon as the water is warm enough outside, obviously we're going to be able to get in the water. Some of the more shallow lakes, the in lakes, before we can get into Lake Michigan will probably be more, June, July. But we're hoping to get into the more local lakes here shortly. I hope with this warm weather, we may get in sooner than we expect.
Had thought, yeah. And then what happens after it?
Well, that's kind of the fun part of this, is we're not exactly sure what's going to happen after. We know that's an important message, and we know we want to keep that message going. So once we're done, we're hoping that the attention we've been able to gather from this will be enough to lead us in a direction that, we can't even see what that would be right now. We're really focused on getting the word out, getting this swim done, because a successful swim will be, that's what's going to open the door. And then we're going to let it flow and see how it goes. But we hope to continue spreading the word. I mean, it's really, really important to us. It means a lot.
Yep.
Wonderful. So right now you're swimming in pools.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
We're swimming indoors, and well, we were fortunate enough. We were down in Florida a couple weeks ago, and we were able to swim in an outdoor saltwater pool, and that was kind of a nice taste of outdoors, and that was
the
enjoyable.
Saltwater must
Make
it a little easier.
Yeah, it was very fun. So
it was nice, but right now we're with our morning family at the Y.
Yeah.
So that's
They
been
don't
really
work
nice.
as hard as you do, I'm sure. What kind of precautions do you have to take medically? I mean, to protect your skin and things.
Well, we're doing a lot of even just being aware of hypothermia. What are the stages of hypothermia, and that we are aware if that starts to happen, how long we have, and if we need to get out. And then, of course, the skin, is a huge thing, and we're looking at different types of sunscreen to keep us protected for that long. On that day of the event, on training time, we can reapply and that type of thing. But we're really having to be careful about taking care of our bodies and inner bodies too, nutritional, and make sure that we are getting the energy we need.
Yeah, we're going through quite a bit of food.
And just before we end, how long might it take you?
We're aiming for about 30 hours is our goal. We'd feel really great about that, but as long as it takes, we're going to keep putting one arm over the other until we make it to the beach.
Yeah. And is the contest the goal is that you don't come out of the water?
Yeah, exactly. We can't stop and get out. We can't rest on anything. We can't even really touch ourselves. We really want to make it an official ultramarathon swim.
Okay.
So it's really dry to dry.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here and telling us about this, and I certainly will be watching.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching NPO Showcase, a regular feature of GRTV. If your nonprofit wishes to be showcased, you can contact me, Barbara, at 459-4788, extension 115. And in closing, I wish you a peace-filled week.